Welcome to my channel, everybody. I hope all of you guys are having a great day and hope all of you are staying safe. So in this video, we'll be discussing the latest news surrounding a fourth stimulus check.
The idea that Bernie implies the way he says things, speaking of negative ads, my Lord, Bernie, you're running ads saying I'm opposed to Social Security that PolitiFact says is a flat lie.
The Washington Post also reports that Congress added the plus-up payment to make sure that the IRS could deal with backlog of tax returns amid the crisis. According to the Washington Post, aware of the backlog at the IRS, Congress gave the agency the ability during the stimulus relief round to circle back and essentially top off people who were shortchanged because the tax situation changed in 2020. And members of a powerful congressional committee are calling for additional rounds of economic relief from the federal government for families still struggling during the crisis. The third round of stimulus relief squeaked through Congress thanks to a budget loophole when it failed to find bipartisan support. Since that time, numerous Republican governors have refused federal unemployment insurance benefits, arguing they encourage people to stay at home and collect money instead of getting back to work. Fortunately, lawmakers can use the budget reconciliation process again to pass more relief payments. And when asked about stimulus checks earlier this month, White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki said, "We will see what members of Congress propose.
We can find agreement." So we've been closely engaged. The president himself called Senator Booker to get an update last Friday. I expect he'll continue to get updates over the coming days. And we have also made it a priority to leave space for the negotiators to have these discussions.
We've actually gone back and have been talking to some of the police reform advocates, some of the victims' families who met with the president during the campaign to kind of get their perspective on action or lack thereof coming out of Washington. And some of them have expressed some real frustration that they feel that the president could be doing more here, that he could be putting more public pressure on Congress. Your response to that, and why aren't we seeing him today, for instance, come out and speak publicly and trying to urge more action here?
Well, we issued, or are issuing, if it hasn't gone out yet, a public statement from the president in his name commemorating the anniversary of the death of George Floyd, a moment that impacted him deeply personally, as it did millions of Americans. As you know, he's meeting with the family today. He wants that to be a private discussion. He has a close relationship with them, or they've really impacted him in their courage and grace over the last year, and he felt it was important for that to be private.
During the first year of the crisis, folks, both parties compromised to pass two stimulus bills. It is clear that more stimulus relief payments should be sent out to the American people, especially with over 20 Republican governors ending the payment of additional unemployment benefits to unemployed Americans in June and July. Most governors who have made the decision to end the crisis believe that the payments are encouraging people to stay at home. States like Arizona will be ending the additional payments by allocating funds to assist working parents by providing 3 months of childcare if they re-enter the workforce. This approach helps workers overcome the barriers that are preventing them from returning to the workforce. And some economists and policymakers are concerned with the plans of other states that will end at $300 a week topper, in addition to state benefits, without providing any safety net for unemployed workers, especially those with children. And everybody, President Biden has said that one of his top priorities is Social Security reform. Millions of Americans count on Social Security benefits to provide income when they are retired or disabled. Unfortunately, the program's funds have been running low, and the latest official estimate from the Social Security Administration shows that just 79% of promised benefits will be payable in 2035 due to depletion of its trust funds, and that estimate does not factor in the effects of the crisis, which experts say could move that date up even sooner. Now, Biden proposes changing the measurement of the annual cost of living increases to a consumer price index for the elderly, which can more closely track the expenses that retirees face. Under his plan, eligible workers would get a guaranteed minimum benefit equal to at least 125% of the federal poverty level. And people who have received benefits for the last 20 years would get a 5% bump. Do you believe that this plan for Social Security, everybody, is a good idea?
The week of June 21st, the Senate will vote on S1, the For the People Act, legislation vital to defending our democracy, reducing the influence of dark money, that pernicious influence of powerful special interests, and stopping the wave of Republican voter suppression happening in states across the country in service to the President Trump's big lie. So I repeat, the Senate will vote on S1, the For the People Act, the week of June 21st. In addition, the Senate Democratic majority will continue to make progress on President Biden's Build Back Better economic agenda. We had two things going at once, which shows you we'll work bipartisan where we can. And Senator Carper and Senator Capito reported unanimously out of EPW the ground transportation, the road transportation bill. But at the same time, the Senate Finance Committee reported historic clean energy legislation that will begin to fight climate change, and that was voted in committee 14-14. That was not obviously bipartisan. So as the President continues to discuss infrastructure legislation with Senate Republicans, our committees are going to hold hearings and continue their work on Build Back Better with or without the support of Republican senators. We must pass comprehensive jobs and infrastructure legislation this summer. The American people gave us a Democratic Senate to produce big and bold change on the major issues confronting us, and that is what we are doing. Ready for your questions. We'll start here and work all. You change your, usually you're over here.
I came late.
Oh.
Peter Schumer, how much more time should you give bipartisan negotiations on infrastructure? You sound in your letter to your colleagues a little frustrated with working with Republicans.
Well, we were frustrated when we did the most bipartisan bill. I think, you'll check it, there were more amendments on this bill than in several years of McConnell's entire tenure as majority leader, certain years.
Well, first I want to thank Shelley for your amazing hard work on this. You talk about somebody that has patience and persistence and always doing it in a positive way. Very, very grateful. This is a real offer. This is of substance and significance, what we're bringing forth today, and it's what people at home in Wyoming think of as infrastructure. It's, roads with potholes that need to be fixed. It's waterways and airports and ports that are clogged. You're worrying about flooding in different water systems. We think about bridges that are aging and what we can do to help those. And this is what President Biden talked with us about in the White House. This proposal is fully paid for, does not need to have any raises in taxes, and avoids the big threat to the economy right now, which is inflation. Inflation is the #1 threat to our nation right now in our economy. And that's not just me saying it. It's Larry Summers, who had a long piece in the Washington Post the other day talking about inflation that is coming and coming faster and to a greater degree than he even thought. And it's because of all the additional spending that's going on because of this additional trillions of dollars going into the economy. So when we talk about this $700 billion or repurposing money, there is clearly money that should be spent in ways where the money has already been committed. It's not additional borrowing and